The team that I was on in corrections back in the day, it was called Special Emergency Response Team. Now it's called Crisis Response Team, CRT. But it was the cream to the cream of, the correctional setting as far as operations and like an operator would be concerned, like special ops or tact ops or, that type of thing is what we did. We studied room entry, and we were, our primary function was hostage rescue. So if there was ever a hostage situation that jumped off in the prison, there has been, since the inception of the CERT team, these things have actually happened, and they activated, the team to go in and deal with the hostage situation. And but that's where the team originated from, and really, when you look at historically where that operational team came from, Attica State Prison, when they had
70s,
it was in the 70s in New York, when they had that the prison takeover, the inmates took over.
Went days,
it went
weeks,
weeks,
yeah, weeks.
It went weeks.
4 weeks or 3.5 weeks or something like that. Yeah.
Right. And the inmates wound up switching clothing with the corrections officers. And back then they were called guards, but now we're corrections officers. Yeah. And they brought in the National Guard to deal with the situation. And the National Guard, they had rifles, and they lined the prison walls. Unfortunately, completely unprepared. And they didn't know who was who in the environment and what the environment looked like. Half of those people, probably the majority, never had seen a prison, been to a prison, but this was the force that they were using to take back over the prison. And what wound up happening was they shot and killed several
tragedies,
correctional officers, because the correctional officers had the inmate attire on and vice versa. So out of that was born a different philosophy of we need to have some people on the inside that can handle these types of difficult situations without a potential loss of life.
So you mentioned like Kern Valley, Corcoran, does each prison have one of these teams in there, or is it like there's a response team that would, like for the state, that would go in if something bad went down? Like, so, because I think when I look at this, like sort of from a from a military organization perspective, there's soft guys, and then there's the special forces guys, kind of special teams groups that kind of do their own things. And then there's DevGru, and there's all this kind of stuff, right? Depending on the job, we call these guys. Mm-hmm. Is it set up that way?
Back in the day when I first got on, and I got on in 96, and it was set up where every prison had its own team.
Got it.
And the reason why is because who knows that prison better than that team? And when you weren't doing, special operations type stuff, you were just working the line. So you got to know the prison, you knew, the nooks and the crannies. And if you were an operator on that team, then you're always evaluating, tactics and operational needs and that type of thing in your own environment. And to save money over time, as the state does, they look at making things different. And so they went to regional teams where they'd have, in some cases, 2 or maybe some 3. And I think there's might even be a regional team out there that has the responsibility for 4 prisons.
Wow.
And but they're made up of officers, sergeants, lieutenants. And in one case, I was actually a captain when I was on the Corcoran team, and that was as a sniper team squad leader. But when they start taking the people from those prisons to incorporate them into a team, you still have operators that know those prisons very well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So somebody's kind of the leadership, and within that group, like, this is my spot, so I can give more direction. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Kind of like that, but or at least the go-to person. Should there be an operation that jumps up at an institution, obviously the guy or the girl, because there's women on the team too. You would be called upon if they were making a op plan, and to try to coordinate that and work with it, because you have the most knowledge of that institution.